Hello, my name is Anthony Galarakis. I am from Clearwater, Florida. I teach elementary general music and chorus at Belcher Elementary School. I currently teach students with emotional behavior disorders at my school, both in an inclusion and self-contained settings. My research proposal is the effective strategies teachers use in an inclusive classroom with students with disabilities. There is a need to provide authentic music education experiences for all students, including students with disabilities. Students with disabilities are sometimes expected to be included in the music classroom with same-aged general education peers. This would mean that all students with disabilities should have similar music instruction with a regular music teacher at their home school. For this music experience to be successful, strategies that work need to be shared from experienced music teachers to other music educators to help create an inclusive environment where all students, including students with disabilities, can grow their musical abilities. The review of literature is broken down into three strategies: behavior management strategies, instructional strategies, and professional development strategies. Behavior management strategies help ensure students are on task and not distracted by other things during music instruction. The research by Garrity et al. Studied the conditions that facilitate music learning for 16 students with disabilities. Through the data, the researchers found the effective behavior strategies included repeating expectations, using rewards, adapting expectations for students, and monitoring behaviors. Perkins used responses to find strategies to facilitate music learning with students with disabilities as well. She also found that behavior management strategies were important for student success. These strategies included nonverbal communications, clear directions, and monitoring reinforcements, including using encouragement, positive feedback, and rewards. By using behavior management strategies, the teachers can make sure the students with disabilities have constant reminders and reinforcements to stay motivated and engaged throughout the lesson. Sedaris and Chandler shared research that looked at general music teachers' attitudes and characteristics when including students with disabilities. They found teachers had more negative attitudes when incorporating students with more than one mental handicap or emotional behavior disorder. They explain this result is because children with one or more mental handicap or emotional behavior disorder are more likely to be disruptive in the classroom and cause the teacher to feel less prepared for the lesson. Teachers can have a more positive attitude by being prepared with strategies and techniques for teaching students with disabilities and being able to change things on the spot to be more successful while teaching. Implementing instructional strategies, including adaptations to and modifications to the curriculum, using technology, social supports, relationships with students and with their teachers, advocacy for student needs helps to meet the needs of the students with a disability to make musical growth. Hairston sh- shared having more than one way of presenting materials using technology, the smartboard, visual aids, oral aids, or kinesthetic aids, considering how the student responds to the lesson and assessments, what modifications or adaptations are needed to show the student knowledge, and using strategies to motivate the student to be learning during the music lesson helps students digest and understand more of the curriculum in an inclusive music classroom. Raffel presented her study to show teachers' perceptions of teaching inclusive classrooms in elementary schools. The study participants found that creating peer supports for students with disabilities, adapting and modifying the curriculum for individual students' needs, and creating a welcoming environment for students with disabilities are strategies used to create an inclusive environment. Abel et al. Suggested peer support or mentors in the class to help with the activities and a buddy system for students with ASD to help them learn and use social skills through peer modeling. Van Wielden and Whipple found that most teachers were confident in adapting and modifying the curriculum for individual student needs. Teachers were aware that students with disabilities do not achieve the same learning outcomes, but through these instructional strategies, they can achieve some level of musical achievement during the music class. Experiences from pre-service and in-service teachers to gain strategies and learn how to create an inclusive classroom for students with disabilities are also essential. College programs often neglect the preparation for all teachers to teach students with disabilities. Horgan researched the perceptions of pre-service teachers during experiences with students with disabilities. Providing an experience for pre-service and in-service teachers to reflect on their teaching, have observations from a cooperating teacher, and other experiences throughout the field experience are important ways for teachers to learn, be more comfortable, and be successful teaching with students with disabilities. DeVito and Suarez shared their project with university pre-service music education students during field experience in Sydney Lanier's Center for Functionality Capabilities. The participants learned to repeat more, explore different ways of teaching, improvising on the spot to be successful, and reflecting on their experiences to show musical growth. There is a need to research the strategies current music educators use while teaching students with disabilities. Many of the research studies are more than 20 years old. Some of the strategies presented might be outdated or do not work for students in the classroom today. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic and other changes to the school schedule, students with disabilities could be academically and socially more behind than their same-aged peers. Finding effective strategies music educators who successfully teach students with disabilities are implementing will be necessary to meet the needs of the students with disabilities and assure students with disabilities are achieving growth in the music classroom. The purpose of this qualitative study is to show the effective strategies music educators can use while working with students with disabilities in the music classroom. Specific research questions include: what perceptions do teachers have of creating an inclusive environment for students with disabilities? Is there a difference in the strategies used based on participants' gender, advanced degrees, or years of teaching? And what management plans or strategies do participants utilize to help students with disabilities succeed in an inclusive classroom? In the methodology section, I'll be going over the participants planned for this research project, procedures, and how I will analyze the data. Prospective participants will be recruited from the 223 elementary, middle, and high school music educators from the Pinellas County School System in Florida. The prospective participants in the study will be a criterion sample of current music educators who will be nominated to participate in the study by their principal, assistant principal, or performing arts supervisor. The prospective participants will be nominated if they think the music educator uses effective strategies to create successful inclusion experiences for students with disabilities. The goal is for a minimum of 100 music teachers to fully complete the survey for the study. A quantitative descriptive survey research design will be utilized to describe and interpret the effective strategies music educators use while working with students with disabilities in an inclusive music education setting. The 5 demographic questions will be about their gender, years of experience teaching, highest degree attained, the music classes they teach, and the grades they teach. Demographic information will be used to compare differences and similarities between music educators' effective strategies based on their gender, years of teaching experience, and highest degree attained. The Likert type questions will show the perceptions teachers have for students with disabilities in an inclusive environment. The survey will also use open-ended questions to gain more information about the specific strategies prospective teachers use and the feelings about including students with disabilities in their music classrooms. I will establish the survey's reliability and validity by a test-retest for reliability, establish face validity, and by conducting a pilot test with a sample size prior to sending the survey out to the general participants. Threats to validity include if participants answer questions with socially acceptable answers instead of how they truly feel, and if they leave out important information that might be useful for the study. Nominations of effective teachers will be found through the performing arts director and principals from county schools. For the first research question, what perceptions do teachers have of creating an inclusive environment for students with disabilities? The data will be analyzed by calculating the mean and standard deviation to analyze the data from the survey to show the trends for each question in the survey and show the relationships between the answers to the questions and their demographic characteristics. For the next question, what management plans or strategies do participants utilize to help students with disabilities succeed in an inclusive classroom? This data will be analyzed qualitatively by finding themes for the data and presenting frequency distributions from those themes that were found. The last question, is there a difference to the strategies used based on the participants' gender, advanced degrees, or years of teaching? The data collected from the survey will use mean and standard deviation to show the gender, age, years of teaching experience, degree obtained, and what grades and classes the participants have that include students with disabilities. I will use the data to create frequency distributions to show the differences and similarities in strategies used versus demographic data that was available for this study. In conclusion, there is a need to find quality music educators who have successful experience teaching students with disabilities, and a need to find effective strategies that can be used with students with disabilities. The purpose of this research study is to use the data from experienced music educators to show effective strategies all music educators can use while working with students with disabilities in the music classroom.